Good weekend, everybody. I haven't made a video in about a week or two. Been busy, but I just wanted to do a recap of some of the positions that I have. A separate video. I'm going to do one when I'm looking at some tickers for the upcoming week and the next couple of weeks into April. But first, I want to talk about what I had when I closed out this week. ASO. I've been in this one for a couple weeks now. I bought back in here. We were in the squeeze. We were at the 21.34. I bought in around here, held it for a little bit, went through this dip down to 22 prior to earnings. That was pretty much a market sell-off right there. We are in a big squeeze here. Hasn't even fired yet. They had a great earnings report. As you can see, it popped off here. I did take profits yesterday on my call spread, mainly because the market's been so volatile and it's been a 3-day weekend. But this one still looks good to go. It has about, I think, 15% short interest. I just want to take some profits here because it is a bit extended, but it could shoot up. So these are some Fibonacci retracements and extensions. So what I did here, I took this swing high to this swing low right here, and my target of 27.95 was hit, and I'm looking for 31. I figured it may, eventually get up there after a couple of days. It actually had a great day on Friday. It jumped at the open, trickled down to the 5-minute 50 moving average. So let's see if I can get to the 15-minute. I like the 15 minutes, a little bit longer time frame. So if you look at the 15-minute time frame, this is earnings. So actually the day after earnings. Let me get a big picture here. So the day of earnings, we had this big nice pop up here, gapped up, ran up to about 28, closed on the highs of the day. For some odd reason, it just sold off the next morning to 24. So I don't know what caused that, but in any case, it recovered nicely. And just, once it broke the 15-minute 50, it just kind of never looked back and just started trending higher with the overall market. We pretty much closed almost at the highs of the day on Friday, which is pretty strong. It is a bit extended because, the 8-day EMA is all the way down here. So let's see if it could touch 30. It could keep running higher. After the last earnings report, you can see back here it jumped, kind of traded sideways for a little bit, and then just eventually just bled higher. So pretty interesting stock. They got an upgrade as well. So I think this is, this could still go higher. If it pulls back around to 26 for 80 EMA or 21 EMA, it may hop in if we're still in the squeeze and it hasn't fired. But this is a classic slingshot squeeze. You went from a long squeeze, about 15-20 day squeeze, we're bearish, turned bullish, and then now positive momentum still hasn't fired. When you see the green dot here, that means it's fired. So we still have squeezes on multiple time frames, some positive momentum. A little overbought here, but this ticker can be, I guess not overbought. It could trend up here for a little bit. But in any case, we got the ready fire signal a couple of days ago. I like this one for higher prices. My first target is 31.12 range, and then ultimately probably 35 if we get a push up there, depending what the short interest float does here. But in any case, I do like that. They had strong earnings, blew it out of the park. Keep an eye on this one, but any pullbacks to 21, I'll probably hop in, or 34. It does trade kind of oddly where, it moves slow, then all of a sudden has these big bursts out of nowhere, which is pretty interesting because I think it's a low float stock as well. So keep an eye on this one for coming days. Its volume after earnings is strong. Everything looks great here. I just took my profits early because I had a lot of open positions and I wanted to take some winners while I had them. Next, we're going to look at BLNK. BLNK, I've been holding this one for a while. I got back in up here when it was in a squeeze. It was a nice, mature squeeze here. It came down to the 34. I picked it up on this little arrow right here on this day. The next day it jumped up and then held. I should have had stop loss in back here at the low, but foolish me. And then I just had to sit through all this downtrend here, and now it's kind of recovering a little bit here. So this 100 SMA seems to be holding support now, and over the past week they had some good news with the Biden administration doing some EV projects. So this one looks like it's gearing up to retest the 50 level, and then maybe even the 62, maybe even hit this extension up here 86, depending how things go. It does have a high short interest. We got the ready fire signal over here. If you watch some of my other videos or comments on my post, I was talking about this cross with the stochastics here, because every time we seem to get that cross positive, we get a nice little bump in the stock. So we had that cross, we had the fire signal, we had volume come back in a little bit. We have positive momentum here. We have a little bit of inverse head and shoulders going on, where you got the shoulder, neck, shoulder, and then the neckline is right about here. So you're looking at about 43, 44. If we could break that 44, 43 level again and hold above it, we could see this break out a little bit. We are a bit extended though. The 80 EMA is all the way down here, and some of these moving averages. We had a good run up from 31 to 44 in about 5 or 6 day span. So I'm looking for maybe to consolidate a little bit, let these moving averages catch up before we run up. Still holding shares, sold some calls against it. Unfortunately, the day I sold, the next day it just shot up. But I bought those back at a small loss, and then just sold some more just because I feel like it's going to pull back this week probably. Maybe consolidate. We'll see what happens. But in any case, I'm looking for it to retest 50s if it could break this neckline here, and then ultimately, maybe retest highs. And then we do have earnings coming up again in May, so this one could be an interesting play here, so long as the market holds up and this one keeps trending up. So we'll see what happens. I'll keep an eye on this one. Still holding that. Next is FUBO. This one's not looking too great. It's just kind of had this big sell-off, kind of like similar to Roku. If you look at Roku, see if I can find their ads, type it in. Roku had this big sell-off too. Some of the streaming plays, the at-home stocks kind of took a hit, and Roku is no exception here. So this decline in Roku here is kind of similar to what we saw in FUBO. There was a lot of hype with FUBO, some high short interest. So it looks like it's kind of found support down here at this $20 range. It happens to be the 200 SMA. We are oversold here on RSI and stochastics. It looks like it's about to cross into the stochastics, about to cross here, and the RSI is about to cross back into the line here. We have the ready fire signal. We are hitting this 8 EMA, so I'm waiting for it to break this EMA to kind of confirm this reversal. If it breaks this 8 EMA here, I'm looking for it to go to the 21 EMA. But ultimately, if it breaks this 8 EMA, I want to see that hold as support. Maybe build a little bit of base, have these candles maybe turn to neutral to yellow, just to kind of say momentum's kind of shifting a bit. So we'll see how this one plays out. We don't have any targets with this one. This one's kind of like a price target. This one's kind of volatile. I got back in over here, added to my position here, kind of sold some calls at earnings, and then obviously after earnings, it took a hit because of the big loss. However, I believe a lot of that was just non-cash, employee expenses. But in any case, it got kind of hammered and then kind of consolidated and just sold off again. Found some support back where resistance was initially back here, and once it broke this resistance around like the 20 range, it jumped, consolidated, and took that big jump there. So let's see. I mean, these are some kind of trend lines. I'm not really a big fan of these kind of trend lines, but let me get rid of that. If it could break and hold above this line of 21, so we have some support, we have some resistance here. So any move up, I mean, I think we'll get stopped by this 21 EMA and this trend line ultimately. So if I had to say a target, if it breaks 80 EMA, I'm looking for maybe a 27 resistance spot, and then if we could break that, then we can probably retest 30 and go a little bit higher. But we have a lot of resistance up here. We are having some positive divergence in the squeeze pro indicator. We get stock price coming down here, down, making lower lows. However, this momentum is making higher highs here. As you can see, when it was down here, this was a little bit lower, and the stock price about the same back here, but you can see how this is kind of trending up as far as momentum goes. So momentum is trending up, but you have the stock price going down to positive divergence. So if we can break that, and then we get some positive Momo in the squeeze, we could probably see a little bit of a juice to get us a little bit higher. We are oversold. So let's see how that, we got a ready aim fire. We're oversold here, and it's clear, and momentum's looking like it's starting to shift. But we'll see how this play out. I was a little disappointed that, on Friday and Thursday with all the strength, we jumped up on Friday, but ultimately gave it all back. If you can see, we jumped Friday, hit 24 and just, bled all day, and a little disappointing. So it looks like it's trading in this kind of range from, we'll call it about 24 to 20.50. So it needs to hold this range, consolidate maybe a little bit more. But if it falls below this 20.50 range, I'm going to say, there's no support down here. So just be mindful of that. Stop losses are important. We have earnings coming up in May as well. Maybe we get another earning run. We'll see. But that's where I stand on that. We have Marvel. I like this one for just like a longer term play. This one is like a 5G play. I love it. Semiconductors as well. I got back in around, I want to say, my initial position was, we were trending, we were in a squeeze. I picked up at the 50-day, because I love this one, right before earnings, trying to catch earning runs. Fortunately, the whole market, the NASDAQ, sold off, and took this with it. Found some support, just 100 EMA or SMA, and it ultimately broke down to the 200 SMA, where we found support. Had earnings. It took a little beating, but now it seems to recover. We got this W shape going on here, where if you look at the overall market, it's kind of looking like that, and then a higher low. So this is what my trajectory is looking like. So you get that W shape where you make the low, make a higher low, and you get this neckline here, and you break out above that neckline. If you break out above that neckline, maybe we could test this with 55. But notice how the extensions here from this swing high to this swing low, we're finding resistance at the 61 or 61.8% retracement right here. So this is going to be resistance right now. If we could break this 48 level and hold above it, which we broke and closed. Let's see if we could stay above this for the next couple of days. We do have a dividend coming up, so be mindful of your options. But in any case, the NASDAQ still shows some strength. I'm looking forward to retest this high of 55 here. Has some shares I'm holding. We have bullish momentum here. RSI is trickling back up. You have the ready fire signal, getting a little overbought here. But I think this one can run with tech. It is it's a solid play in my opinion. Semiconductors are strong, and I think they just announced the news with Samsung. With some where is it at? They got upgraded too. I didn't realize they got upgraded to $60 a share. So this one's looking good. This is my IRA account, so I'm holding it for a while. Maybe take some profits if it hits 55 or sell half, but that's what I'm looking at on this. I do like this one. There's no squeeze on the daily, but you have some of these weekly and daily. It's a 4-day squeeze. So this one, if it kind of catches a bid, we could test these highs. That's what I'm looking for. It's a bit extended. It's trading a little above the 80 MA, so it might come back down, touch this. Maybe a good entry is more so back down here around like 47 if you're not already in it. That's what I'm looking for. I like this setup. It's more of a longer term play as well. So keep an eye on this one, and then we're going to talk about DKNG. DKNG, one of my favorite tickers. Sports betting is big, and it's, as new states start approving it, it should start to gain a little more traction. So right now there are, we'll say pre-squeeze. You got a 2-day squeeze. These gray ones are like indicating pre-squeeze really. We had these nice runs up, these nice spikes up here, but ultimately sold off with the market, kind of zigzagging. But it's holding this trend line right here. If you could look back, it's been holding this trend line for several months. Seems as strong support. We thought maybe it would break here, but it kind of held pretty well. And you have a little bit of support with the 100 SMA down here as well. So if it should break this, there's some support right here at 55. This yellow line is, and the blue line as well. But every time it seems to come down here, and these long wicks, buyers are coming in. This sell-off here, I don't know what happened here. Probably, I'm not sure if it was the market or what happened here on some news. But you can see how, these kind of dips, you had these big wicks, boom. You didn't get that here. It kind of traded here for a couple of days, and now it's kind of finding its footing. So buyers came back in around here. We do have like bearish momentum here. It looks like the stochastic wants to cross maybe maybe get some positive juice here. We have a ready signal. I'm looking for the aim or fire down here. Kind of, I think this is a reversal play here coming on. If we could break this high of 74.38, I'm looking for 84.21 based on the 161 extension. That's this swing, this high to this swing low right here. You can see we still got a ways to go. We have to get through this level right here, the 50% extension, and then we have to get through 618. So it could take some time to get up there. We have earnings coming up in May as well. This one's, I'm holding shares in this one. There's no rush for me. But we do have some resistance up here that we need to get through. Should it break to the downside, this will be a first level support. Second level will be around the 48 range. Do I think we'll get down this low? I don't think so personally. I think this 55 level will hold. People seem to be bullish on gambling stocks right now, especially with sports coming back online. We have the baseball season and everything. But this one, I really like. We have the yellow candle still, so it's indicating neutral. We haven't seen a red candle in some time. This sell-off was the I guess the IPO share restrictions coming off, so that's kind of makes the chart look a little ugly. But once that resolved and kind of found its footing, it's been up ever since. So I like this one. First price target 74, then 84. If ultimately maybe it hits $100 in the next year or so, I don't know. We'll keep an eye on it, but I'm holding shares and plan on holding for a longer term swing, maybe into the earnings run, and see how that goes into earnings. Next, I want to talk about TLRY. This one, is really volatile, high short interest, cannabis play. We're in this nice slingshot squeeze here. We have the ready signal, oversold down here, oversold over here. It's just been consolidating the last couple of days. I got in right. Unfortunately, I got in around where is it at? I got in over here, right around here, just because we were in a squeeze. We had these momentum trending. We're holding 34, so I picked up some shares. Unfortunately, we sold off. Now we're just consolidating. I think we're building some momentum for a big run up. And then as long as it could hold this, 21 level, if it falls below that, we're going to look to come down, test these moving averages down here. They are merging with another company, so what I've been reading too as well, the other company's a better buy, because the valuation, I think TLRY has to come down in value in price just because it's a conversion of the shares or purchase price, whatever they're doing. Any case, ultimately this is a longer term play. I bought shares, no options here because it's so volatile, but I'm holding into the now. They have a meeting on the 14th. They have earnings coming up, but this is a longer term play. They have a big exposure to cannabis, not in the U.S. but in Canada and overseas. So this could be a fun play. Maybe I'm looking to hold it for one of these type moves. I'm more than happy to just let this consolidate. And then once this news comes out, we get this type move again. I want to be in that. So we'll keep an eye on it. I'm willing to sacrifice a couple dollars to the downside here. Maybe I'll average down a little bit, but it's a longer term play. But I'm keeping an eye on that. Google, I bought this one looks awesome. It's just had this jump up after earnings, consolidating, and now it looks like it's one to retest these new highs or retest the old highs into earnings. I sold a 2200 call or debit spread. Took a profit on it on Friday, just put the gap up because I think I got in back here because I like the squeeze. I like all the indicators telling buy. So what I did was I bought the spread back for probably like a 60 or 70% gain. So I took that and ran with it just because we are extending here above the 8, and just the market's been so volatile. Take your profits when you have some. If you have a big lot or something, you maybe sell half, get some money off the table. But in any case, we're extended 80 EMAs over here, 20. So maybe if it pulls back to the 8, we get like a little quick flash dip. Maybe I'll get back in. But this squeeze is building up a lot of momentum here. So you can see last earnings popped up, consolidated. Had this little pop-up, consolidate. So it seems like that's the trend it's following. It gaps up on earnings, consolidates for a month or two, and then finds the next footing for all highs. Have earnings coming up in May or April, end of April. This one, I don't know. I mean, maybe we could see a stock split down the line here. I mean, we're getting some to 2,000 range, and a lot of companies have been splitting lately. You had Apple, you had Tesla splitting. I'm curious if they would do that soon. If that if they announce that, this thing could shoot off and go higher. That's just total speculation on my part, given what's been going on. Anyway, those are the positions that I have right now and got rid of. I'm kind of light. I want to go a little heavier maybe into April, see how this week starts out coming up. But have a happy holiday, everyone, and I'll post a video on some ones I like for the week and into next expiration of April. Have a great day.